hello, my name's Lewis Clegg. I'm here to just talk you through a few new bits and pieces that you'll see on our website that have been live since Monday, I believe, and just to give you a bit of an update on some exciting new product news as well, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to try and keep it brief because I know you've all got busy lives and you're probably rather doing other things. I'm really glad you're here if you are, and feel free to sort of add some comments. I'll try to remind myself to keep checking back if there's any comments, but without further ado, so the website, you'll have noticed, has obviously been changed, and it's been running for about 3 months now. And as promised, we're continuously working on updates to improve your experience. We acknowledge though that some people may have had frustrations with the new site, especially around signing in, changes to the navigation, and some resources not being transferred across. And we're really aware that we could have done a better job of letting you know that those changes were going to happen and giving you better and more advanced notice, especially around things like the navigation changes and some of the resources that weren't online. As teachers, we know that you come to us, you trust us, you've got limited amounts of time to get to what you want. And when either resource isn't there or you've got to navigate to it in a different way, it can be really frustrating. And we did obviously have some updates about what was happening in advance, but especially around the resources not being online, we could have done a better job of that. The reason why we didn't bring all of our resources across, like every single one from the old website, was kind of a number of reasons. There were some that we did a bit of an investigation into and found were a little bit out of date, or there were some which we couldn't, they might have run on a slightly different software that our new website wasn't able to sort of cope with at the time, or because we just looked at user numbers and found that there was like really low usage on certain things. And obviously everything that we take across has a certain sort of time element to it. So there were sort of sacrifices that we made, but having listened to the feedback, especially on certain resources like lesson slides in particular, we did make that decision to bring them back, and I'll have a bit more of an update on that shortly. So the website obviously was done with a lot of user testing with our customers, but inevitably we're not going to get everything right for every customer. But hopefully, we're always open to your feedback, we're always listening, and a lot of you people have given feedback. We've put a little pop-up on the website a while back, and people have been getting in touch with customer services about certain things, good news and sort of bad feedback, but we're always open to it, and we use all of that feedback. We pass it back to our website team, and we're always using that to consider what improvements and new features we can work on next. So the first thing that I want to show you is the new scheme view. So this is up here in the top header bar, and it looks the same as it did before. That's been there since the start, but before we had that as a little explanation about our math scheme, but now this button does a different thing. So this is part of some feedback that we had. We changed obviously the layout of the menu from the old big, what we called a mega menu on the old website, and it was like really small font. There was a lot of information. Some people thought it was a little bit hard to understand and hard to read, and there was and if you kind of moved your mouse too far down it would kind of disappear and you have to go back. But I know other people did like it and have got used to it. So it was a huge change that we made, and there was understandably people that were a little bit uneasy with it, and especially when some of the ordering on certain schemes might have changed and things like that. So what we wanted to do was find a way to really make the schemes look a lot simpler and more how you might like to navigate by a scheme. So with that in mind, we've created this. So you click on this now and you're presented with this information, which hopefully is going to lay out the information so much nicer for you. So depending on what you've put previously, it will remember what your year group is in your scheme. So if I'd sort of change this and do this and then go back, I'm hoping it'll do this now, it will remember the changes that you've made. So if I say sort of year group and the term here, and I can choose between classic scheme and CS scheme. So the CS scheme is a scheme that we're developing. You'll have noticed some new resources and a slightly different ordering compared to the classic view, which is what we've traditionally used. And this has taken a lot of research and a lot of planning and work. Yeah, you can see it on the year group at the top, and then the scheme view, and then the terms. So you can just select what year group it is, which scheme you're using. So obviously our older stuff on the classic view, and any newer things on the CS scheme. You can then select your term, the block, which are in the correct order that we advise you to teach them in, and then you can select your step and go through to that lesson page. Same for the CS scheme. So you can see on here the blocks down the side and the steps. So anything that we've not completed yet will be unclickable and it will be grayed out slightly. So that's what that is, but don't worry, that will be coming in time. On this CS scheme view as well, you can see the rapid arithmetic and the maths in minutes options there, and that will take you to those product pages. The final thing that you can see on the CS scheme is the download for the year overview. So if you want a little bit more information about our new scheme, you can see that there. But it is something that we're still actively working on at this moment. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the filters. So the top bar on the results screen. Sorry, let me just change this tab. So we had a few little comments which we kind of understood around people wanting to navigate on these results screens. So this is through either a menu or through a search. You get to this screen and you've got a little bit of information. You've got a breadcrumb trail at the top so you can kind of see the pathway that you've taken and then the number of resources and a bit of a description. The previous design for this was a little bit more bulky and took up more height on this, and the filters were underneath here, making it harder still, or making it sort of taller area still, which meant that if you were using a really small screen, you'd end up not being able to see very much of the resources because it was blocked by all this navigation here. So I've made a couple of changes here. One has been pushed out, one's almost ready to push out, and that is by moving the filters. So the filters now are on this right hand side and you click on them and you can expand them here. This means that you can now see all of the filters in kind of one place. You can open them all up, you can see what's available, and then you can kind of select multiple things at the same time and then show the results, which is done there. The next thing that we're just going to work on is that when you scroll down, this section will hide, just to give you a little bit more screen to view to see the resources, and then if you scroll back up, it will reappear. That's going to come shortly. It's not quite there yet, but hopefully that's going to mean that people can kind of see the resources and filter a little bit easier. Again, with all this stuff, we'd love to get your feedback as we're going, because we're just continuously looking to like make little tweaks and improvements to your experience. That's what's changed now. You can kind of look at that on the website right now. And there's a few more websites that are coming in the next 6 weeks. So one of those will be lesson slides. So as you're aware now, if you were a fan of our lesson slides, if you kind of navigate through the menu, so I'm on year 3 maths, we've now moved it so that lesson slides are in this area. So if you weren't aware, we didn't bring across our lesson slides when we first launched the website because they ran on a different type of software that we didn't support. But there was a lot of people that were a bit upset about this, and quite rightly so. We kind of really quickly tried to look at a solution to how can we get these on in a way where people can use them and access them. So currently they are in this sort of lesson slide section, but as you can see, they're kind of all just piled in one place, and you can open them from there and play them, which is fine. But obviously in terms of navigation, this is not an optimal solution. I think we've said in the copy up here, we're actively working on a long-term solution to bring these resources fully online as soon as possible. So really happy to say now that one of the next things that you're going to see is that these will be integrated into the website. So they'll be in the menus, they'll be in the lessons, they'll be searchable, and they'll sit alongside all the other resources. So you don't have to go to this special area if you want a lesson slide. So it'll just be like another part of the website. So really excited for that to be there, because I know there's been a lot of you out there that's kind of had that frustration. So hopefully that will make you a lot happier and get that you can kind of access everything in one place now and you don't have to faff around trying to find these in a different place. Another thing that people have asked for is a download all button on lessons. So if I just go to a lesson here as an example, well, it's not the best example there because there's only a couple of lessons, but I'll maybe look at this one. So on the old website, we had these lesson pages, and we had an option at the top, I think, where you could just download everything in one go, rather than having to download individually. And people have said that they really want that feature back. Happily, in the next 6 weeks. Again, I can't give you a precise date because there's going to have to be like a little test that we run and things just to make sure that it works. But on this top bar now, we're going to, on these lessons for maths and GPS, we'll be having a download all button. What that means is, say in this example, if you've got 8 resources, you click that download all button, that will take up 8 of your downloads allocation. But yeah, hopefully that's going to save people, well, at least 7 clicks, I'd have thought. So over the course of a year, saving you a little bit more time there. So that's something. And yeah, as with that and the lesson size, we will let you know when those changes go live. There's obviously been a few other people with comments on certain things, but if you do have particular feedback on the changes that we've made, we'd love to hear that. Likewise, if you've got any other things which you would love to see us change on the website, yeah, it's all really good for us because ultimately we're just trying to make this the best experience for you. So I did sort of tease that we'll be talking about some new products that are on the horizon. And some of them are coming really soon, so it's almost February now, and some of these resources are coming in February. The first one we'll talk about is sustainability resources. So this, we're offering a full unit from EYFS to Year 6, which includes an overview document, one PowerPoint which can be split up over multiple lessons, and a set of worksheets. And I'm allowed to give you a little sneak peek now of what that's going to look like. So this might, need a little bit of proofreading. It might look slightly different, but this is close to what it's going to look like. So this is your overview document of the lessons. This is an example for Year 1, and Year 1 is growing and sourcing food. The PowerPoint accompanying that. So you've got lesson 1, where does our food come from? So if any of you have been using our science resources, you'll kind of hopefully find this layout fairly familiar. The science resources that we're rolling out are proving really popular, so it's going to be nice that there's more things like that coming out soon. So yeah, you can see that this is like one long PowerPoint split over multiple lessons. But again, we like to be flexible. We don't like to dictate to you exactly how you do these things. So it's up to how you teach it, obviously. And here's some of the worksheets. So again, they're marked by lesson, so you can correspond to the PowerPoint. And there's some really nice little worksheets in here for sustainability. So that's EYFS to Year 6, and that full unit is coming out in February, I believe. The next thing we're going to talk about, which unfortunately I don't have any sneak peeks to give you, is geography. So again, like our science resources that we have right now, there's going to be units for years 1 to 6. There's going to be an overview document, PowerPoints, I'll bring my face back there, and worksheets, and there's going to be 6 lessons per unit, which I believe is in the same style as the science resources that we currently have. In the slightly longer term, coming for Easter, we have history resources, so really exciting. We're getting more and more subjects rolling out. Again, that's going to be for years 1 to 6. That's going to also contain an overview document, PowerPoints and worksheets, and that's going to be a full unit of 6 lessons for all of those year groups. The final thing we want to talk about is extracurricular. Actually, I don't know how aware people are, but the government are sort of saying that now primary schools are going to be required to provide 30 minutes per day of free breakfast clubs. So obviously that's a lot of additional resources that we're going to be needed in schools to sort of fill that time that's going to be productive for children. We're hoping to get ahead of the curve on that, and we've already got some really nice new resources out. So if I just navigate on this menu, so I'll go to I'll just go right to the start of the menu. So you'll see underneath SEND and the year groups here, there's now this menu item for extracurricular clubs. You can see breakfast club, colouring club, gardening club, languages, and puzzle club. So there's not going to be many in most of these right now, but if I just show you breakfast club, one of our fantastic designers has been working on some lovely breakfast club resources for you. This is just the start. We're in discussion to make more breakfast club and associated resources. I'm really interested in gardening club personally, but yeah, we'd love to hear your suggestions on what type of resources you think your school would really need for breakfast clubs, because we know it's going to be what a lot of people are thinking about at the time. So hopefully you can see that we've been working on so many different things at the moment, and it's really nice to be in a position where we can like share some stuff that's coming really soon. I'll leave you to get on with your evening. Hopefully that wasn't too dull for you. Lots of nice updates. See you soon. Thank you.